Hello, and welcome to Resume Writing, the Basics. My name is Erica Coddington. I'm a career counselor with Nova Workforce Career Services, and today we're going to be talking about resume writing in relation to just some basic formatting issues and important elements that you want to include on your resume, as well as some resume do's and don'ts. So the purpose of a resume, the purpose of a resume has many purposes. It's your personal marketing strategy to get you a job. It also helps to get you an interview or admission to graduate school, depending on your purpose. Your resume articulates your skills and accomplishments to internship organizations and employers that you're applying to. A resume also helps you keep track of your accomplishments, skills, and work experience over time. Many times when we've been in the workforce for a number of years, it's easy to lose track of skills that we've picked up, new software that maybe we used, new ways of doing customer service in different work environments. And so by adding and continually updating your resume, it helps you keep track of your new skills and accomplishments for when you go and you apply for future positions. Your resume also showcases to employers how you want them to see you. So there are 4 different resume types. You have the chronological resume format, which lists your work experience in reverse chronological order, ranging from your most recent experience to your least recent experience. The functional resume is broken down more by categories. So that's where you have, maybe you've worked in customer service, you've done leadership, maybe you've done, had certain experience with software or computers that you want to show. And so the functional resume breaks it down by skill set and is less attention toward longevity with an employer. The combination resume combines elements of both the chronological and the functional format. So you might list in the combination resume where you worked and how long you worked there, and then how you demonstrated different skill types at that organization. Finally, you have the federal resume, and the federal resume is specific to government jobs. So if you were applying for a government position, it's a specific structured format. You can get more information about federal resumes by going to usajobs.com. They have some resume building tools there. You can also check out Arlington Employment Center. They have some workshops once or twice a month on how to write your federal resume. The different components of your resume include the following: your contact information. So you'd want to have your name, your address, a phone number that you can be reached at. You'd want to have your email address, something professional, like n.nova@gmail.com, not something too casual like misskitty@yahoo.com. You would also want to make sure that you may or may not want to include your street address. It really depends on the employer. Many times, if they know that you're commuting from a long distance, that could be a red flag to employers. Make sure that you have a professional voicemail greeting. You don't want to have it playing a radio song, or it being too casual of a greeting. And make sure that your voicemail messages aren't full. The employer needs to be able to leave a message, and if they can't, they might skip to the next candidate. In your education section, you want to make sure you list your education from your most recent experience to your least recent experience in education. So you would have the name of the school, the dates that you attended, the degree that you obtained in reverse chronological order. In your skills section, you would want to include things like customer service, any technical or software skills that you have, problem solving. Really look back at your work experience to see what skills you've demonstrated and pull from that as far as how you showcase those skills the best. So maybe you have a unique ability to target and identify a customer's needs in determining what kind of customer service to provide. You would want to really elaborate on that in the skill set rather than saying great customer service. Some people separate their technical or computer skills from their other work skills, and that's fine too. You can put your skills at the beginning or the end of your resume depending on your level of education. So, if you haven't been in the workforce very long and you just graduated from college, you may want to put your skills in the beginning. However, if you've been in the workforce for a while, you may want to put them more toward the end and highlight your work experience, having that at the top. You also want to have your work experience, which lists all the employers that you worked for and the dates you were there. Um, Also the skills and the duties that you performed at each job. And then finally, you want to have your awards and accomplishments and any professional organizations that you belong to. So maybe if you achieved Employee of the Year, or let's say you received a scholarship, or maybe you made the Dean's List, or you belong to any professional organizations, this is where you would list it. Basic formatting. So you want to keep your font to 10 to 12 points, no larger, no smaller, and use a readable font style such as Calibri, Verdana, Times New Roman, and Arial. Avoid using colors or pictures or online templates. They can interfere with what's called the applicant tracking system. The applicant tracking system is an electronic system that scans your resume and application when you apply online, and many times it can be disrupted by fancy fonts, pictures, online templates, and then your resume never gets seen by human resources. So as a result, you want to avoid pictures, colors on your resume, online templates. Now, if you're in a hiring event or an in-person event, it's okay for you to have something colorful or something a little more creative because you're not submitting it electronically. But when it's online, you want to make sure you keep everything as simple as possible. Keep the length of your resume at 1 page for entry level. This can vary if you have a lot of work experience. So 1 page is ideal if it's entry level, or even if you're entering a profession and you're a career switcher and this is your first time applying for jobs in this profession. However, it's not uncommon to see resumes that are 1.5 to 2 pages. Now, if your resume is bordering between 4 and 5 pages, that might be a time to schedule an appointment with a career counselor. Sit down with someone to look at ways you can condense it and eliminate redundancy. Remember, on average, employers spend 8 to 10 seconds looking at resumes, so you definitely want to make sure that it's not going to take the employer a really long time to look through your resume. Otherwise, they may just toss it to the side and move on to the next one. Correct for grammar and spelling errors. You definitely want it to look professional in that sense, but also any typos can additionally interfere with that applicant tracking system. Use past verb tense for past jobs and present verb tense for current positions. So if you had a job a year ago where you were helping customers, you would want to say assisted customers, helped, provided assistance. If it was today and you were doing that kind of a job now, let's say, you would use provide, assist, help, making sure that it's present tense. Tailoring your resume. Now, for each specific position that you apply for, you want to make sure that the skills and key work tasks on your resume match those of the job description as much as possible. So whenever you see repeat words in a job description or words in bold, those are areas that you definitely want to highlight on your resume. So if you see things like team building or a particular software system that you need to have knowledge of, you definitely want to make sure that you maximize that on your resume, making sure that it stands out. You want to paraphrase. So even if you're looking at the job description, don't use word for word descriptions in your resume to match the job. You want to make sure you provide a summary format of ways that you demonstrated that skill at another position. Custom fit each resume to the specific position that you are applying for. Employers can tell when you're submitting just a generic resume that you've sent for different jobs. When you're looking at that job description and identifying what the mission statement of that company is, it shows through when it's reflected in your resume and how you present yourself and how you demonstrated those skills that the employer is looking for. Use industry buzzwords where appropriate, and you can find those in the job description. Also, the BLS.gov, Bureau of Labor Statistics, is another great resource to learn about industry buzzwords, as well as Vault.com. So what are transferable skills? Well, transferable skills are important because they're skills that you can transfer from one work environment or field of study to another. Examples include customer service, teamwork, communication skills, event planning, and leadership skills. Note, there is power in numbers. So if you've ever worked in retail or any kind of customer service job, think to yourself, on average, how many customers did I help per day or per shift? So let's say you worked in a retail store and you obviously provided customer service. So on average, did you help 20 customers an hour? Did you help 40 customers a shift? There are definitely ways to enhance those areas of your resume by providing a numerical estimate of how many people you helped. Same thing with reception or office work. On average, did you answer a multi-line telephone? So it's 3 lines or more. It's okay to say you answered a multi-line telephone. But on average, did you answer 25 calls an hour? Think back, and it's okay to provide an estimate, but definitely think about the numbers as far as how many people you helped. Some people take time off from school or from jobs to go to school, or maybe they're raising kids, but they also might be doing some kind of work, whether it's event planning, coordinating sleepovers with the kids, participating in PTA meetings and ways that they contributed that way. Going to school, you're working on projects, you're learning new information, maybe detailing some of the things that you're working on during that time. That's definitely going to add to your resume. So just because you maybe have a gap or you took some time off doesn't mean that you weren't necessarily working. Maybe you were researching a new skill or you were teaching yourself a new software program. Definitely think back to maybe what kinds of skills you were using during that time. Beware of resume ethics and pitfalls. So resume ethics that you want to be aware of, not checking for grammatical errors or formatting issues. You want to make sure your resume has consistency in terms of the font, that the grammar is correct throughout the document. Not tailoring your resume for each position. Again, employers know when you're just sending out a generic format for your resume. Claiming a team's work as your own. Copying someone else's resume word for word. Using templates, pictures, or unreadable fonts, and lying on your resume. So you want to be able to speak to everything that you've listed in detail in preparation for future communications with that employer, whether it's in the form of an interview or at a hiring event. You definitely want to be able to speak to what you've done, and if you can't explain and provide more information about it, that could be a red flag to the employer. Thank you very much for listening to this short webinar. I hope it's helped you as far as preparing your resume and getting ready to submit it to employers, or just getting ready to sit down with someone else to review your resume. If you have any further questions, feel free to email Nova Career Services at nvcc.edu.